In case you're wondering why I'm dressed like it's cold outside, well, honestly, it is cold outside. I was also thinking of going with the whole Ebenezer Scrooge bundled up, frosty and curmudgeonly kind of thing going on. And I thought maybe it's best to leave it to the professionals.
Humbug. 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 Humbug.
Humbug to you too.
Hey, I'm Aaron from GameEnthus.com, here to tell you about Bah Humbug and the 12 Games of Christmas. Bah Humbug is being published by Small Furry Games. Bah Humbug is also the name of an individual game designed by Emily Willix, who also designed several other games within this collection of games. So it's a total of 13 games. Bah Humbug is the title for the collective as well as an individual game. Each game has its own individual name. Bah Humbug also includes lovely animal illustrations by Olha Bondarenko. Let me show you how Bah Humbug works. So these are the components in Bah Humbug, which go along with the items mentioned in the 12 Days of Christmas. And the quantity of every card goes right along with the song, meaning there is literally one partridge in a pear tree card, and there are 12 drummers drumming. And everything in between corresponds directly to the number of the song. I'm very tempted to sing it, but I'm showing a lot of restraint. You're going to have a deck of many cards. I guess if you do the math, you could figure out how many there are. There's a lot. So 12 of these, 11 of these, 10 of these, you get the idea. You're going to have a postman card. You'll see how that works in just a moment. This is the card that's going to be placed in the center. Placed in the center for this game, for this game's namesake. As I mentioned before, there are many games that will come along with Bah Humbug. This is just one of them, which happens to be called Bah Humbug. So you're going to use these cards in Bah Humbug, 12 of them, to show the 12 days. I already mentioned the postman. The mailbox card can be flipped over for players to say Bah Humbug and challenge the people that they're playing with. But I mentioned earlier, Bah Humbug is a bluffing game. You have a bag that's going to have some holly berries and some coal. None of these are actual holly berries or actual coal. I'm sure that doesn't really need to be mentioned, but I already mentioned it. So here we are. I'm not sure about the actual number of them in the final game. That's yet to be determined. Also, let me just mention that all the components you're seeing are prototypes. So this is a preview copy of the game. So some things might change before the final game is actually released, so just bear that in mind. Let me show you how Bah Humbug plays. Bah Humbug is a bluffing game. Bah Humbug within the set of games under the title Bah Humbug. This is one game of many that will come with Bah Humbug. The theme is that you are Victorian suitors who are bragging to each other about the extravagant gifts that you are sending your respective loves. And what you're doing is you are placing the actual card that corresponds to the day going around and around. However, it's a bluffing game, so people can call your bluff by flipping over this card, saying Bah Humbug, and then verifying what you've done, and then doling out holly berries. Well, this one is to keep track of what day you're on, but doling out holly berries and or coal to players who are telling the truth or lying. So normally the holly berry is only extended to the person who happens to be telling the truth when they've been challenged, and then coal is doled out to players who have been lying the whole time. I don't believe more holly berries come out beyond the initial one for the challenge by flipping over the card. Each player will be dealt 10 cards, and the last player who mailed something will go first. This player mailed something last, so they're going to go first. So we'll take their cards. Take a look at what we have here. It's a decent spread. If you notice, there is a 12, so player 1 could say 12 drummers drumming. Player 2 will pick up their cards, and if you look, they also have the postman card. The postman card allows you to basically just clear all of the mail, never verifying anything. So maybe somebody was on the cusp of winning. Maybe you do that just to extend the game a bit so they couldn't win. So no need to bluff. Player 2 actually has an 11. So 11 pipers piping. There's a lot of truth here. Okay. So player 1's going to say 10 lords a-leaping. Now, you don't have to say the full thing if you don't want to. I think that might be a precedent set by maybe the player who goes first or just how you happen to play. But if you are not saying the full thing and you're worried about whether or not that might reveal, because if you haven't memorized them all, that might reveal whether or not you're telling the truth. The game will come with player guides that will specify each of the 12 gifts for the 12 days. So that shouldn't really be an issue. Stay 9 and player 2 is next. Player 2 does not have a 9 in this deck. They have plenty of 7, so they're just going to say, they're just going to front, and they're going to say 9 ladies dancing. Keep in mind that the number of cards in the deck reflect the actual day of the gift. So there's 9 of those cards. So it's still a good chance of you having them. But as you get to anything kind of below 6, it gets a little dicier. You know, there's literally 1 partridge in the pear tree. So that's kind of tough. All right, now we're down to day number 8, and player 1 just happens to have 2 8s. So they're going to say 8 maids and milking. And let's say player 2 is like, nah, you don't have 8 maids and milking. And they flip this over, bah humbug. At this point, player 2 would come in and flip this over to verify. And player 1 did indeed have an 8. That is the 8 maids and milking card. So player 1 would receive 1 holly berry. And then you would flip over all the others to verify. Player 2 was clearly lying here and did not have a 7, so they would receive coal. All right, we have 10 lords leaping on 10, 11 pipers piping on 11, and ultimately 12 drummers drumming on day 12. So all of these were the truth, but you know, some lies told. The 2-player game, you can win by either having 5 holly berries or 7 pieces of coal, and you can switch whichever one you want. Like if you have more coal and you have holly berries and you get your 7th and you win the game. But that's how the rounds would go. But because we got over to day 8, instead of in a normal game, instead of going to day 7 in a 3 to 5 player game, we would actually, I believe, skip and then start from day 6. So then we would start from 6 and continue on that way. Like I said, the game is won by either somebody having 5 holly berries, 7 lumps of coal. The round ends when somebody is challenged. I guess if you make it all the way to 1, which somebody's going to challenge before you get there, because if you have the partridge in the pear tree, the one that there is, and somebody pretends like they said it, you know good and well they don't have it. The full title of this is actually Bah Humbug and the 12 Days of Christmas. So 12 games, 12 Days of Christmas, you get the idea. So that is Bah Humbug. I'm going to go back up top and I'm going to say more words. The idea is for these first 13 games to come out when the game initially comes out, and then for games to be added somewhat on an annual basis using these same components, or perhaps maybe even more. And all the games range from solo play up to 5 players. These are all of the different games that are going to come out in the first batch of 13, the names of the designers, the number of players, and the mechanics they're going to use. While Humbug is only going to be on Kickstarter for the next couple of days, if you're interested in it, I highly recommend that you click on the link in the description and back it. Anyway, I'm Aaron from GameEnthus.com. This has been Bah Humbug and the 12 Games of Christmas. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you check the game out. Thank you for watching. Take care, stay safe, and be blessed.